Okay, I'm back. I'm going to do a part 3. I'm trying to get through this for you guys. I'm going on vacation this week, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to knock out as much as I can on this genealogy. And it is confusing because it's all from land grants and stuff. So from another land grant we got from Peter Lester, and that's BLT/B1C dot, Library A again. In the Cheshire Archives is that John, son of Henry Bagley, grants William, son of William Bagley, all his rights in Bagley Park. That's November 20th, 1305 to 1306. So here's an individual, another one that's running around. We know he's got property rights in there. I mean, there's several individuals here with property rights in Bagley because they descend from either William Bagley or John Bagley. So they're descended from either Peter Bagley, who was the father of William Bagley, or descended from John Bagley, who was the son of Hammond Bagley. So, yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on there. So Henry is a guy, we don't know who his father was, but we know he owned property rights there, so he was descendant from one or the other. And he had a son named John, and that's in 1305 or 1306. And so going back to Adam Bagley, you mentioned earlier, who had property in, all the way over into Golden, which is in Staffordshire, and or Shropshire, I'm sorry, that we have in DLT B1 Library A that John, the son of Adam, grants William, the son of William Bagley, lands in Bagley, held by his mother Agnes, and we mentioned that earlier, and that was January 7th, 1309. So through these land grants is how you get genealogies, like the one mentioned, Hamo, son of John, who is the son of Hamo. So we're going back to the original guy there, Hamo from the other line, grants William, who was the son of William, 2 acres of marsh in Bagley. That's the one we mentioned earlier, and that's DLT B1 Library A of Peter Lester's work X. So that's how you establish these medieval genealogies. So you have the 2 different lines here. You got one guy, it's William, that becomes the most famous Bagley because he is trying to unite the estate, and he comes pretty close to it. He's at one point that in these documents you see that's going from being called Bagley to being called Williams Park for a time. Okay, so and it's like I said, it is complex. So through the visitation, and this is what they got John, and then they have a William, and then they have a John who married, and his sister's Ellen, and she was the spouse of John Leah Booth. Okay. And then there's, but then when you add in like land documents, it's more complex than what the College of Arms has, because there's documents out there showing that William had a son named Jeffrey. And then there's a William who had a William that had a William. You know what I mean? And we mentioned some of them earlier. So I'm going to go back to, sorry for the, there's always a lot going on here. This is, my videos, I'm not trying to make them professional. I'm just trying to put you out the information out there if you want to check it out. And so bear with me. Earlier in my other video I had a dog barking. I know. So, but thanks for tuning in. It's like I said, this is all about that. So we established, so we're going to Hamo. And Hamo had a son named John, and we mentioned that earlier. And he gave all of his land in Bagley to William, who was the son of William Bagley, and that was in 1310. And that's out of Peter Lester's Works 2D. So back to an individual here, and that was, I think I mentioned this already, yeah. Is the Salford raid. I mentioned, I think, in the last video. It's like I said, I just got this noted out, and believe me, it makes my head hurt too. So, in 1311, William Bagley, that was mentioned earlier, and there was a Nicholas Bagley. And then there was Hugh and his sons, or just his sons. It says the sons of Hugh, that raided Salford, and a big cattle raid of a bunch of them, the Masseys, the Carringtons, and a bunch of the what they call the Cheshire gentry, which, as you study this stuff, you find out that they're not sitting around drinking tea. These guys are murderers and cattle thieves, and they're not, I'm not saying they weren't, they're a product of their time. These are rough individuals. These ain't what people think of the nobility nowadays. These are men of strong arm, and they're forcing their way, and they don't care to take whatever they can take. So these are kind of individuals. And it's like I said, even Margaret here, I proved some of the lands they said they got, and I'll go into that later. Margaret was already in trouble for forging deeds, and that's Margaret, that was the daughter of Isabel Bagley and Thomas Daners of Lime Hall. And so she was a known already forger. So I'll go into that on another video. I mean, I'm just trying to run down the genealogies as quick as I can here. So back to this. So we got Hugh, and it mentions Hugh Bagley in this raid, and it mentions his sons, all but one, which is mentioned in another document named Robert. So you got John, it's mentioned, common name. Richard, it's mentioned, another Richard now. And William, he has a son named William. So it kind of shows he may, through marriage, be descended from his own line maybe a couple times, because he's repeating names from both lines. And he had a daughter named Mabel. Now, Mabel Bagley, she married William Vaudrey. And this marriage is mentioned in John Burke's Volume 2, a genealogical heraldic dictionary of landed gentries, page 1472. And it mentions genealogy all the way down from Hugh Vaudrey and his spouse Alice Broom. And in 1370, she was still living in Northern Inn, which is a lot, our ancestors owned a lot of property there. William Vaudrey, who married Isabel Wood. And then Ralph Vaudrey married Ellen, daughter of... Sorry, I gotta focus in on this. Oh, and she was the daughter, Ellen was the daughter of William Lee of Bagley, which is a pretty tight inbred. I mean, it was. I mean, the line intermarried a lot. So now this line supposedly died out male-wise, but I tell you, if there's anybody that's got a line back to here, I would love to do a DNA, get you to do DNA project with me, because this would be a sure shot because of the marriages that would lead into something. But as I said, we established that. We have you. He had a son named John. He had a son named Richard. He had a son named William and a daughter named Mabel. John had a daughter named Margaret, and he had another son named John. Richard had Cecily. His spouse was Cecily Bainshall or Benchill, which is a street you can still find in the Bagley area, the Withenshaw. And that's DLT B1, Library A, and Peter Lester's work. And John Bainshall grants Richard, son of Hugh, all his lands and liberal marriage, witnessed of William, Lord of Bagley, and John Lee, and Robert Massey of Sale. Richard Mandan, here again with Robert, you have Robert. Massey grants to William, son of William Bagley, all his rights, and Williams Park and Bagley. You, brother of Robert Bagley, witness Thomas and John Lee, and Robert Denton, rector of Lyme. And that's DLT B1 of Peter Lester's work, A. Dot. Then in the National Archives of John Ryland's Library, RYCH/814, Ryland's Charters grants to Robert, son of Adam Bagley, to Sir William de Bagley and Rosia Lee, his wife, of land in Northern and Kenworthy called Satyr's Hall. And that's in June 11, 1335. And that's the one document that I was able to prove there may have been a forgery with Margaret and her family involved in. So I think I ran that down pretty far. My phone's about to die, so I will hit you up when my phone charges up, and I'm going to run down some more genealogies. Thank you. Be blessed.